I got ahead of myself, and I really wanted to spend some time on this, talking about what you need to make to afford to buy in New Jersey. I was inspired, and particularly northern New Jersey on this one. I was inspired after reading an article that was going into median household income. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, median household income, let me do some research on this. What does that look like in the northern New Jersey counties? So everything I'm going to share right now is kind of a blend, a weighted blend of these numbers and this information, because to me, what's most helpful for you? Looking at what the median, our representation of average, median household income looks like, and what that translates to by way of buying power. And then we're going to make a very important point at the end. So let's start off. In northern New Jersey, based on the research that I performed, and this is the amalgamation of sources, this is Bureau of Labor and Statistics, New Jersey surveys, a handful of different sources, comes in on average. Now, like I said, this is an average of the median, so we're really kind of flattening things out here. It's around $115,000. So I wanted to use that to drive our analysis and research. What that translates to, if you have that, and then I also read another article that was talking about how much money the average American consumer spends on housing as a percentage of their gross annual income. And that comes in, and it ranges. And this, again, is coming from the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics. It comes in between 34% all the way up to 50% of gross monthly income. So I figured, all right, if the median household income in northern New Jersey is $115,000. Let's use 34 or 43% of that number, somewhere in the middle. And I'm using my guideline knowledge, knowing that, for qualification purposes, 43%. We're going to just use that. That is pretty high. Now, that doesn't guarantee approvability for a mortgage, but it can be. So I just wanted to make that highlight for you. But we're going to use 43% as our factor. So we're assuming now household income is $115,000, and 43% of that is going to go toward housing costs. What are the housing costs? They're outlined as your mortgage payment, principal and interest, taxes, insurance for the property, and then mortgage insurance, because I used a factor of a 10% down payment. In 2024, the average down payment for the U.S. homebuyer, first-time homebuyer, was 10%. It was like 9.8%. So I'm rounding that up to 10%. So using that factor, that translates into a purchase range for the average, the median household income qualifier of $520,000 to $550,000. Now, what does that mean by way of loan amount? Let's go into the numbers for your mortgage here. That means 10% down, and I'm going to use like 525. So 10% down, 550 is going to be our number for this. 10% down, we're getting down to 495. So 495 is your loan amount. I'm using 6.75% as our interest rate. I know we just talked about the average, according to Mortgage News Daily, being closer to 6.8 range, but I'm just saying 6.75 because that is an average, and from what I'm seeing, that's appropriate for the current market. That leads us to a monthly payment for your mortgage of $3,247. Property taxes, I just applied a percentage factor that gives us a good representation of what property taxes look like in northern New Jersey. They vary from town to town, county to county. So that comes in at $866 a month. The homeowner's insurance, I did go a little bit aggressive on this because homeowner's insurance rates have been going up quite a bit. So I'm saying that's $147 a month. And then mortgage insurance, average, I'm assuming a great credit profile here with the 10% down. We're looking at $111 a month. And that brings us to a total monthly payment of $4,372 per month. That represents 43% of that gross monthly income if the household has $115,000 a year. Out-of-pocket closing costs, prepaids, all of that, I'm just going to give you an all-in number for that to give you an idea. And you're probably looking at $55,000 for your down payment, plus closing costs being in the neighborhood of around $16,500. plus or minus, depends on when you close in the month, depends on how much those taxes really are. But using these tax figures, we're just going to factor that in like around 3% of the price for our closing costs and prepaids. We're looking at around $73,000 plus or minus. Like I said, I'm using rough numbers here. So with $73,000 out of pocket and $43.72 a month, that is what it takes to buy. Now, what did I say at the beginning? I said we're going to revisit this. We're going to contextualize this data. We're going to understand. We're going to put this in action. Well, if median household income is $115 and the price point to qualify and be part of that demographic that you're using 43% of your household income to pay for your housing, that translates to that $520 to $550 number. For those of you who've been shopping, I'm going to take a pause and let you guess or let you say it out loud. Don't feel weird. Think about it. What's the most difficult and competitive price point to shop in northern New Jersey right now? I know the realtor professionals out there know. It's that 500 range, that 500 to 600 range. Now we know why. Median household income is driving that. This was my aha moment when I was looking at the data, so I hope you found this information helpful and useful.